These are the 5 biggest mistakes that new voice actors make. Let's get it. Ahoy there, VO friends, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that trips a lot of people up when they first start voice acting. And these things can they can either cost you time, they can cost you money, they can cost you jobs. So we're going to run them down, and these are the top 5. Now, there's plenty more than this, but these are probably the top 5 reasons that I've seen people mess up at the beginning of their career, or maybe even when they've gotten a little further into their career and they're still making these mistakes. So let's get after it. Okay, mistake number 1 is diving into voiceover with no training. I see this quite often where people think that, I've got a nice sounding voice, I can just go ahead and jump right in. Well, that's not always the case, and there's several different kinds of training that we can do here. You can read a book, you can join a training program like the VoiceOver Blueprint, you can hire a one-on-one coach, but there's a lot of different things that you should do before you actually start trying to book work. When it comes to training programs, a good training program will pay for itself many, many times over if you get the right one. Think about it this way. You wouldn't try to become a chef if you didn't know how to cook. You would have to go to chef school and practice and practice and practice before you actually got a chef's job. Same thing in voiceover. You've got to put in the reps and hire the right coach to actually move your business forward. The training gives you a good, rock-solid foundation so that you can build on that as you learn more and become more and more successful in the business. All right, mistake number 2 is direct marketing a DIY demo. DIY demos are just fine when you're starting out. If you want to practice and learn how to, edit and add music and effects and learn the process of creating fully produced voiceovers, but they're not for direct marketing. When you direct market, you must have a pro quality demo or multiple demos and a good website to showcase them on. DIY demos are fine for platforms like Fiverr or Upwork, just to kind of dip your toe in the water a little bit and learn how to edit and, that kind of thing. But do not shop around a DIY demo to a professional production house because they'll be able to smell it a mile away. So here's the tip. Use a DIY demo as a stepping stone. And then once you actually have gained a little bit of traction and gotten some practice and maybe some small jobs, then you can actually go ahead and invest in a pro quality demo, and then you can start doing your direct marketing and you're off to the races. Okay, the third mistake is simply just reading out loud. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Okay, so many times when I sit down with a new client, a new voiceover student, I hand them a piece of copy. They sit down and they just start reading out loud. They're not putting any sort of feeling or any sort of themselves into the copy. So it's not about reading words off the page. Sure, you have to read it in order to do the actual job, but the idea and the whole ball game in voiceover is to sound like you're not reading. So it needs to sound like you're just coming up with this stuff off the top of your head. And there are techniques and ways to actually do that. But at the beginning, a lot of new talent just bring up a script, start reading verbatim off the script, and they just sound like they're reading. And that's definitely a no-no. Here's another tip. Picture someone in your mind, an actual person, a face that you are reading to or talking to. And if you can talk to that person like you would if you were in their presence and talking to them directly, that's how you should read the script. Just doing that will shift a little bit of your mindset and should make your reads much more conversational. Mistake number 4, mixing business with personal. When it comes to social media, everybody's got an opinion. And so many times I've seen people who tend to wax political or religious or any other controversial topic online. They happen to put that on their business and or personal profiles. So my advice is keep all of that separate. Create profiles for your business and strictly keep business separate from personal. Because think about it, you really don't want to alienate half your audience by posting something on your profiles that is controversial. So when it comes to social media, separate business and pleasure. And we're down to mistake number 5. Number 5 is believing everything you read. All right, so the VO space is full of opinions, just like any other industry. And whether it's on Facebook or online forums or a particular coach or program, there are so many opinions out there that it can be confusing and you kind of don't know what to believe. Everybody has their own approach, and honestly, there are more ways than one to skin a cat. What works for somebody may not work for somebody else. So keep that in mind when you're out there doing your research. Just make sure that gather as many opinions as you want, and then use your best judgment and see who actually speaks to maybe your common sense and what you think is the right piece of advice. The key is to take everything with a grain of salt, and sometimes a boulder of salt. So just make sure that you are doing your due diligence and try to avoid the my way or the highway type of coaches and programs, because remember, there's definitely lots of different opinions. Some work for some work for others. Just do your research and see what works best for you. All right, so let's recap real quick. Number 1, jumping into VoiceOver with no training. Number 2, direct marketing a DIY demo instead of a pro demo. Number 3, just reading out loud what's off the page. Number 4, mixing business and pleasure when it comes to online platforms. And number 5, believing every opinion you hear. So remember, by avoiding these mistakes is going to save you a ton of headache. And remember, there's more than this, but these are the top 5. So it's going to save you some time, probably going to save you some money, save you a lot of headache. So remember to create a solid foundation first, and then you can build upon that. Let me know in the comments if you found this helpful. Did you make any of these mistakes when you started, or maybe are you starting right now and have you made one of these mistakes? Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll get this content as soon as it drops every time. One more quick thing before I'm out of here. If you've ever wanted to be an audiobook narrator, which is probably the easiest way to kind of get into VoiceOver, then you don't want to miss our upcoming monthly masterclass with Tom Parks. Tom is a prolific audiobook narrator. He has narrated over 800 titles in audiobooks on all different topics, but probably the most famous one is the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is probably the most popular personal finance book on the market and has been for years and years. So he is going to be here on September 23rd, and he's going to teach us all about how to get into the audiobook space. So if you're interested in joining us for that webinar, check out the link in the description and the pinned comment below and sign up there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.